Welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Culler. And I got Tom Olson, president of Good Success, sitting right here next to me. That's this guy. I got to commend you for something.
What?
So Tom had a little bit of a rough morning today.
I did.
But we had our city hall meeting that we have bi-weekly, and I really want to commend. I don't, this doesn't typically happen here because this isn't the stage for it, but I want to commend Tom.
All I have to say is normally I'm the one that takes us off track, and you're like,
I gotta say this,
and you're already taking us off track.
I gotta say this. And Tom decided, so he was gonna give. Tom always does a teaching in the city hall meetings every meeting that we have, and he was doing. Well, I love the whole gratitude part, but basically how to not be unhappy during the holidays, and he gave 5 key points that were absolutely incredible. But Tom was going to come in and teach that, but he got a flat tire, had to have his car towed before he came in. So he recorded a video for it and played it in the city hall meeting. And like I didn't sense, if I didn't even know Tom had a flat tire, I would never sense that something was wrong. So I commend you for that.
I had too much work put into that, and I was like, I am going to make sure this gets taught at the city hall. And
it was great.
So I had to make it happen.
It was great. I love the whole topic. So
it was about a 30-minute talk about how are you really ready for the holidays? Because if you
don't give away too much, because we're gonna put out a podcast on this.
Okay, all right.
Are
you really ready for the holidays? We're gonna do a podcast about it, so I won't go into the whole thing.
Right. So that was awesome. But today we have one of my favorite people in the entire universe on the show today, Glenn Stromberg. You too. Well, you too. You're on here too. But we got Glenn Stromberg. What's going on, Glenn?
Well, thanks, Josh. Think the world of you too, Tom. So
he's one of my favorite people too.
Glad to be on the show.
I think.
Josh, I think he went over you in with this statement.
What?
So now he's above you.
I'm okay with that. That's just the type of person Glenn is. But if you guys are ever curious about like the type of people we have in our mastermind, the culture we created, talk to Glenn Stromberg. This is like the person that we think that like encompasses all the core values of our mastermind, and just incredible human being. And we're going to come back around to him. So he's out of Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area, president of Stromberg Investments, and they do wheel estate. Yes, that's with a W-H-E-E-L. So wheel estate. And we'll have him kind of explain that here when he introduces himself in just a second. He's been a mastermind member for Good Success since June of 2017. So our second meeting, he joined up with us. And then he is the winner of the 2018 Stewardship Award for our Good Success Mastermind. We give out an award 4 times. We have four events a year, and then we have 4 core values. So we give out 1 award per event that we have. And he got stewardship, and that was back in August, so 2 mastermind meetings ago, and that was incredible. No one better to get that. So we absolutely appreciate Glenn, but we're going to come back around to him and have him fully introduce himself, and then we got some really, really good topics for you guys today. But before we get into it, if you guys haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success Podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. All the podcast platforms, just go search Good Success and you'll find us there. Leave a review if you're able to. We would love to hear your feedback on these podcasts and what you guys think about them. Some things that we could do different, some things that we could do more of, or whatever it is you guys think. We would love to hear your opinion. So leave a feedback, leave a review. We would love for you to do that. And then
5 stars.
Remember, 5 stars. But if you need to leave 4 stars because
just 5.
Okay, just 5.
Just 5 stars.
Just 5 stars. Tom says 5 stars, so you guys got to do that. And then the Good Success Mastermind, like I said, Glenn has been a part of that since June. Our second meeting since June of last year, and the next event is February 4 through 8. We're going to be at Quest Trust Company's office down there in Dallas, Texas. I'm very excited about that. Quincy and Nathan are going to be hosting us. I'm excited to be down there with them.
Yep.
Yeah, so
and that's like right around Glenn's area. It's like he's right down the street
in his backyard.
Yep.
Yes.
Half an hour away. I like it.
Yeah. See, it works out. we got a lot of Texans in our mastermind, so we got to make it happen for them. But you guys can learn more about that at goodsuccess.com/mastermind and fill out the application there if you're interested. And then you'll get on a phone call with either myself or Tom here, and we'll vet you that way. Yes, we do vet the number of deals that you're doing, your business, and that kind of thing, but also the core values that I mentioned before that, Glenn won stewardship. We vet you on that: charity, community, stewardship, and growth. And that's how we do it. So not just your business, but also your character, the type of person you are. We've created an incredible culture in our mastermind. We're very proud of that. So one more time, goodsuccess.com/masterminds, where you can learn more about our mastermind. And then the Active Turnkey book, The Best Way to Buy Rentals. You guys, if you haven't picked it up already, then you're missing out totally. This one's signed by Tom himself. It's got a secret message, and you can get yours for free. All you got to do is go to atkbook.com, and then all you're doing is paying for shipping and handling costs, and then Tom's paying for the book himself. An incredible piece. Tom, I was actually...
You know what, Josh? I think that'd be a really good Christmas present for people.
I think it would be.
Yeah.
It works out.
Seriously, just a stocking stuffer.
This is a really good stocking stuffer.
I mean,
it's
it
perfect.
is the best way to buy rentals. I mean, come on.
It is. That's the subtitle. The best way to buy rentals. So make it happen.
Sure people should buy this as a Christmas present
and Tom, I didn't tell you about this, but I just submitted this to Amazon, so it should be on the Amazon bookstore here in a couple days. So the price is gonna be higher than what you can get it for free.
You got it.
So make sure you guys
can buy it on Amazon.
You can.
As many as you want to buy, or you can get it for free.
Absolutely.
It's up to you.
atkbook.com is where you can pick up your free copy. So make sure you take advantage of that. Don't miss out. And then the Community Go-Giver event, our last thing to talk about here, we got pre-sale tickets, early bird pricing going on right now. Save a couple $100. We're going to start rolling out a lot more details here very, very soon within the next couple months here. But the event is June 26, 27, 28. We had a really good event this past year, our inaugural one. I couldn't say that. Inaugural one back in July at the last week of July, and we had some really good speakers. So, Tom, I don't know if you want to talk about that anymore.
Sure. Let me just talk about day 2. So day 2 is going to be about rentals. So if you're investing in rentals, I think this would be a great opportunity to be able to come and see like what our rental package looks like, our houses look like, so that way you can kind of see if this might be an area you want to invest in, but also kind of just know and feel what other people are saying and thinking about the industry. On that particular day, we have a rock star lineup on day 2. In the morning, we'll kick off with Linda Lipitori. She's going to be talking about how to manage rentals, or how maybe she could help you manage rentals, and how to be more efficient with technology, and how all the things in technology right now are completely changing the way that we manage rentals. I know Glenn here, he uses Buildium, and that's the online platform that we use as well. But she can teach how to do that, and she can help people understand all that. We also have Mr. Landlord coming in, and there is no better person in the world that I've ever met, honestly, to help you be more efficient and make more money and squeeze more out of one rental than Mr. Landlord. He has amazing energy and awesome ideas to help with that. Aaron from our mastermind is going to be talking about how lending works and the current culture of the state of the lending environment in rentals. And then the Community Go-Giver spot on day 2 is Sonia Booker, where she's talking about how she's changing community. She comes into a community and she buys a bank and she makes it into a community center, and then she buys 200 or 300 houses around there and pretty much builds a whole new culture inside that community. And normally these are communities in which everybody else is kind of left to the wayside. So I love her the way that she uses real estate to help her community, which is what the Community Go-Giver event is all about. So come check us out. Every day we're going to go look at houses, awesome networking from great, wonderful people like the people in our mastermind, and on my local network and the national network that we have here at Good Success.
And that's just day 2. That's it. We got 3 full days of that. So you guys make sure you take advantage of that. Well worth your money. So go to communitygogiver.com. Early bird pricing is already going on. Like I said, we're going to roll out full details very soon here within the next couple, maybe a month or so. You guys are going to start getting the full details about that. So make sure you take advantage of that. communitygogiver.com. So without further ado, Glenn, it's time to get into this interview. Man, I'm excited about this. I got some really good questions for you. Ran over these with you before we jumped on the actual show here. And so for the people that don't know who you are, do us a favor, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing that.
Yeah, my name is Glenn Stromberg, and first of all, thanks for all the kind words. I really appreciate that. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, and like you said, I am in the real estate business. Our company, we have a specialty niche. We buy manufactured homes on land, and I always want to clarify that it's not mobile home parks. I mean, I like mobile home parks. I've invested in those in the past. But everything that we invest in, they're real estate. The home and the land are titled together. There's a deed of trust or a mortgage on them. And we're currently in 3 states. We're in Texas, North, and South Carolina. That's where we do business. And that's an overview. I've been doing it for a long time, over 30 years. Been in the real estate, manufactured housing industry for over 30 years. And so we like that space. We like to say it's the best kept secret in real estate investing because most people don't know a thing about it, don't mess with them, they don't understand the value of them, and so that's why we like the space.
Awesome stuff.
I love the space, Glenn. I'll tell you, like, even some of my investors, I have one investor in particular. He has about 20 rentals with us, and one of them that he has is a modular home on land, just like the ones that you. And he consistently tells me this is, now he doesn't have a loan on it, so he doesn't have it leveraged, but he's like, this is my best deal I have right now, and it's a modular home. So it's kind of like one of those things where, you know, a modular home doesn't have all of the extra things that can go wrong, and the things that do go wrong seem to cost a lot less to fix. So even though like the long-term value, and I know in Dallas you've had some major upswings in the prices, but I don't think overall that's going to be the always the case. But the rent, the cash flow is just really, really, really good, and it just makes a lot of sense to be in real estate.
I always tell people, you know, and it really is, and once again, in the markets we're in, it's pretty much half the price of a single family house. And in a lot of cases, it's double the cash flow. And so
Right.
you know, that's why we like it. We're people, and I always want to make this one clarification, you know, is a mobile home a depreciating asset or an appreciating asset? Okay. Well, both.
Right.
If you buy a personal property mobile home in a mobile home park, it's just like a car, it's going to depreciate. Mm-hmm. If you buy it on the land, it pretty much goes up and down with the site-built house industry. Like you just mentioned, Tom, a lot of the properties we bought in 2012 here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area have doubled. They've doubled in that period of time because we're in a crazy seller's market here and it's booming. But they do appreciate when they're real estate, but it is the best part about it is the cash flow. That's the best part about them. So.
Great. So if you guys want to actually learn more about like mobile home investing, we actually did have Glenn on a podcast way back on it was between episode 75 and 80, I think, somewhere in there. But we did talk about mobile home investing and why he does it, why he enjoys it so much, and why it's the best kept secret. So go back and look at that or listen to that, and you guys will learn more about mobile home investing. So let's get into a few awesome questions here. So every time I hear you present, you always start off with this one statement that you made God the CEO of your company. That intrigues me every time, and I've heard the story multiple times, but I want to make sure that this is shared with everybody. And, you know, it might be, I don't know, a different question to start off a podcast with as opposed to talking about a real estate market or something like that. But I definitely think it's important. So can you just kind of go through that, why you did it in the first place and how it's affected you in your business?
Absolutely. And you know, and I love talking about this, to be honest with you. And we had a guy that came to my church, I guess it was 7, 8, I lose track of time, but 7, 8 years ago, somewhere around there. And he asked the question, is God the CEO of your life? You know, is he the CEO? Are you really sold out? Are you really asking him to lead you, guide you, and direct you in your life? Are you all in? And I couldn't sleep for 2 days because I wasn't. And I made a promise to God. I said, I am going to, because all my life, those who know me know I'm kind of ADHD. I'm all over the board. I jump out. I got, you know, millions of things going on. The day that I made the Lord the CEO of my life, I said, Lord, you're the CEO of my life and of our business. Lead me, guide me, direct me. Everything's changed. You know, he's given me more wisdom. There's not a morning I don't ask him to direct me and to guide me. And because he is the CEO of my life and of my business. And it's, you know, I tell people, I say it every time because I promised God I would every time I present. But if people will do that and sincerely do that, it'll change their life. And I believe that.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. We had our level 10 meeting yesterday for all the asset leaders for the Olson Group companies. And we talked about how we can get prayer more involved with the company and, you know, set up a lot more things that we're going to start doing to get that involvement there. So maybe explain, so what are some things that you've done to really implement God being the CEO of your company in your company?
You know, well, really just honestly asking for direction. I mean, you know, it's like you can either jump out there on your own, or you can filter it through God and then trust that he's going to put the feelings, you know, that he's going to give you the right answers, the right directions. And there's sometimes, and I'm telling you the truth, and because I know it's not me, sometimes there's stuff that comes out of me or that happens. I go, I'm not that good. You know, I'm just not. That was, you know, and I think it's real clear in the Bible that if you ask God, God will if you will. He's a gentleman. He's not gonna invade your space. But when you bring him into the equation, he'll lead you in the right direction. And I believe that with my whole heart.
That's great.
Yeah, I think we should work like everything depends on us, and we need to pray like everything depends on God, and trust like everything depends on God. And
yeah, we've got to put the hard work in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But like I say, it's asking for the direction, the guidance. It's been a game changer for me. That's all I can say.
In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. If he's in everything, and if you believe it, and you look to him, you'll find him. And without getting more onto the thing I gave this morning, that was kind of goes along with that, but
right.
We all need to look to him for everything. And why wouldn't we? He says, ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and ye shall find. Like, why, if we have the source of infinite power and infinite wisdom, wouldn't we plug into that source? Why wouldn't we be a conduit of that source every day?
Yeah, absolutely. And this whole thing, like, this is why I wanted to kick the podcast off, the interview off with this questions, because this whole thing really encompasses what good success is about. I mean, that, it's huge. You got to make God the CEO of your company. And I like when we had Pedro Adeo on, I've referenced this a couple times, but we had Pedro Adeo on, and he said, too many of us try to sprinkle little God flakes on our business and just try to include him in our business when he should be the foundation of it. So I think that's absolutely incredible. So great. Appreciate you sharing that with us. So let's talk about Masterminds. Now, this is not a plug for our mastermind.
Yes, it is.
In some way. But Glenn is actually
should be in Good Success Mastermind, no other masterminds.
See, I'm the one who just approaches it like, you don't have to, but then Tom's like, yes. So Glenn is actually
I believe in it.
I believe in it. I believe in it. That's why I'm asking this question here. So you're a part of 5 masterminds. I actually said 4 before we got on the podcast, and you're like, no, it's actually 5. So we have 5, including Financial Friends Network with our good friend Walter Wofford over there. So kind of talk about why 5 masterminds. First of all, where do you find the time to do it? Be a part of that many masterminds, and why is it so important to get involved in something like that?
That's hard too, because I struggle with that too, because I'm a part of 4 or 5 too. So I would love to hear.
Well, it is, and first of all, I've got a great team. Okay, that allows me the time to go to all the masterminds. But it was funny when I was younger, when I graduated college. I read the book Think and Grow Rich. I know you guys have, and a lot of people on this podcast have, and it talks about the mastermind, because it always amazes me that, you can sit in a room for a million years and never come up with anything. But when you go and talk with somebody, you hear idea, just boom. And I always say this, I always have an aha moment at every mastermind meeting. And I've had $10,000 aha moments. I've had $100,000, and I've had $1 million aha moments. And that's not an exaggeration. And I joined. I just started joining the different mastermind groups, and I like I say, I'm on this podcast. I love the Good Success Mastermind group. It's just a great group of people. I love the spiritual direction of it. I love the way you guys run it, and we got a great group of guys that are just with off the charts
and
knowledge.
Girls.
And so, it's one of those things. I'll be honest with you. I started this year, and I said, I'm in 5 groups. I go, I gotta get out of one of them or 2. This is just too much. There's too much. One of them's a local mastermind group here that I lead. We meet once a month, but I'm traveling usually the other 4 and so forth. But every time I go to one, I go, can't leave this one. Can't leave this. I can't leave any of them. So, and actually, I've actually talked to a good friend of ours, Mo Matthews. He told me he's in 8 mastermind groups now. And I'll say this to people listening on here: if you're trying to do it solo, you're messing up. You're totally messing up. You'll never, the ideas, because the beauty of like the Good Success Mastermind group is you've got real estate. You've got some of the best real estate guys across the country in different markets and in different stuff, and you see what's working, what's not working, and you can bring it home and apply it to your business. It's off the charts education, and I always tell people this, because I'm spending, when I say spending, I'm gonna clarify that in a second, but I'm pushing almost 6 figures a year in mastermind fees. Okay, but it's not an expense; it's an investment. It pays off. It pays off, and it pays off in spades. And obviously, I wouldn't do it if I wasn't getting the value for it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I think this is the reason why Glenn was our stewardship award, because in order to be a good steward, you have to first realize you don't know it all. You have to be willing to be humble enough to go and figure out where I need to go to accept that knowledge, to accept those connections, to accept that network that I need to have to be connected to them in order to be a good steward of what God's given you. And I think that Glenn has expanded his influence and has expanded his wealth and expanded his business because of mastermind groups. And I think that's why he's such a good example of being a good steward, is because he doesn't think he knows it all. And Glenn's a really smart guy. I'm going to tell you, like in our mastermind, like he can teach a lot of the people, even in our mastermind, a lot of things. And he has 30 years of experience, more experience than I have in real estate. He's a really smart, intelligent guy, and he won't take credit for that, but he is. But this is why. It's because he's willing to connect himself to other people, and new things come out every single day. So Buildium, was Buildium around 20 years ago when you were started? Absolutely not. But if you wouldn't have taken that, you probably learned that from a mastermind, and probably was like, oh, I need to implement this, and boom.
Well, and the other thing is, technology is growing by quantum leaps, and I wouldn't have a clue what's going on there technology-wise if I wasn't in mastermind groups.
Absolutely.
Would have never run into the traction process, EOS process, all the others. I never would have. Things that totally changed my life and my business. So.
Yep. So do you mind sharing? You mentioned that you've had $10,000 an hour or 10,000. I was going into the $10,000 an hour tasks. Ideas. So you said $10,000 tasks or ideas. Man, I keep referring back to that because I've heard Tom's talk like 100 times.
You said that every single time you come to a mastermind, you have $1 million idea. Can you give us some
mind sharing one?
I'm going to share two with you. Okay? And Tom's going to know about the one of them. Okay. I had met Tom at another mastermind meeting, and we're on a boat, and his phone's going off. Well, we bought another one. At the time I was acquiring 2-3 houses a month, thinking that I was really, doing good and stuff. And it was I'm listening to him, and he's talking about, I forget, you're doing 100, 200 houses or something like that. And I'm just going, and I couldn't sleep that night either. And I'm laying in bed going, I'm a weenie. I got to think bigger, and I said, I'm going to think bigger. I know I can do more. I know I can do it faster. And that was over $1 million idea. That one was. And then in another mastermind group, a good friend of mine, Wendy Sweet, who's out there in the Carolinas, right? Just she says to me, she goes, have you ever thought about North and South Carolina? There's 1 million mobile homes out there. And I said, no, I really hadn't. Well, the next day I got up, I started doing some research on it. And 2 weeks later, I flew out there. We put together a team, and now we're doing 10 houses a month out there. And so that was another multi-million-dollar idea. So it was just it. And once again, if I wasn't in a mastermind group, I'd probably still be back doing 2-3 houses a month, thinking that I was ringing the bell. That's what it would have been. So
it's just like what I said this morning, Josh. It's foolishness to think that we can go at it all alone.
Yeah.
So just like he makes God the CEO of his business every single day, it's the same thing with connections to people. You can't go on it all alone. It's just foolishness to think that you know it all.
And back to Think and Grow Rich, that was the common denominator with all of them. Yeah. They all had the mastermind groups, the circles of influence, board of directors, whatever you want to call it. You can't do it solo. There's no way. You need other people in different personality boxes to help you to grow.
So then is networking, because we've just been talking about that, is networking the most valuable component of masterminding?
Yes, I would say absolutely. Okay. Because not only, my network now, I've got some of the smartest, most talented people in the country. I can pick up the phone and call for anything. Okay. I also have a private lending business. I invest with a lot of people in other markets and so forth. And so, yes, it's a saying that we say it's a saying that you hear in the mastermind groups, your network becomes your net worth. And it's so true. It's so true. And so, like I say, it blows me away the people that I can pick up the phone and call and get advice from, people way smarter than me. And it's great to have that. it's critical for my business.
Absolutely. Love that. Okay, so let's switch over to your business specifically, or your real estate thoughts. So we actually today is the 30th November, and today a podcast is going out with Eddie Wilson talking about the real estate market and kind of like his thoughts on the real estate market with data to structure that thought and his opinions. So from your 30 years of experience, so you've been through a lot in real estate, obviously in the previous crash that we've had. What is your thoughts on the current state of the market? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it opportunistic? Is it, whatever it is? What are your thoughts?
I always say this, the market is always good for people that do business good. Okay. If you've got a good business model, if you work hard and you got up market, down market, it doesn't matter. You're going to find deals. Okay. Now, my sense is from the people that I know all around the country is, it's been a crazy seller's market the last 8 to 10 years. All the charts say there's got to be a pullback coming here. And I think there is one. Even in the Dallas-Fort Worth market here, we're kind of coming down here a little bit. Okay. It's houses are sitting on the market longer, days on market and so forth. So yeah, I mean, my gut tells me that yes, there's going to be another correction coming. But I think it's actually a good thing. It's actually a good thing when it happens. And because, back after 2008, I was able to buy the same properties I'm buying now at half price. They were half price what they are now. When it becomes a buyer's market, when the supply, picks up again, foreclosures are picking up around the country. That's a fact. And so, it's going to turn. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not smart enough to know when, but maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe the year after. But the good thing is when the market does correct, it's kind of a cleansing process in the market. All the people that aren't doing business right, all the people that that could make it in a good market can't make it in a down market. It kind of purges those people out, and those that are left, there's a whole lot more business for the people that are left.
I think that's very interesting, Glenn.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Dallas. What's your sense? And I think real estate's become a lot more localized than ever before. But I think Dallas has been on a tear for 10 years, really. I mean, it's supposed to be going crazy. So what's the difference in your mind? Because you're looking at now 3 different states. So
Right.
what's the difference like in your Dallas market versus like the North and South Carolina markets that you're in?
Okay. The Dallas market, yeah, they say there's 3,000 people a week moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Wow, I thought
right?
it was only 2,000. Wow, that's just a ton of people.
I've heard it all between that, but
That's
I Googled
crazy.
it about 4 months ago, and
Wow.
it was closer to 3,000.
That's insane.
Like I say, up in North Dallas, where Frisco and Plano and McKinney, those areas are just, Texas is a very business-friendly state. We don't have a state income tax. A lot of corporations want to be down here. They're moving here and so forth. A lot of jobs down here. Now the problem is, where we used to have brick houses for $150,000 probably in 2010. Now those same houses are pushing $250,000 to $300,000. So the affordability factor is way different now than it was back then. We have a real need for affordable housing in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The stuff, like my stuff, sells just like that. From what I hear from real estate people, 150 and under, it flies. It flies.
It's the same way here.
Anything above the 250, 300, the days on the market are starting to creep up, and they can't. They're having troubles with those. So like I say, the Dallas-Fort Worth market is it's been a hyper seller's market. North and South Carolina are very similar. They're more steady markets. They're good markets, diversified economies. You're not going to get. Probably similar to Indiana. You're not going to get the tremendous jumps in value and so forth, but it's very steady over time. That you get some appreciation. We get good returns out there, good rents for our properties, and so it's a steadier market. That's the way I'd class. That's the way I'd brand it.
So as far as like on the peak, or like Dallas, you think is closer to the peak. But the other markets, like there's not really, the peak is more of like a soft peak or a round peak. It's not as much as
yeah. Dallas, I think we've hit the peak, and we're coming back down from the peak. Okay, I think we've backpedaled a little bit. In North and South Carolina, no, it's just steady, and I don't like like I say,
You don't pay attention to it that much.
I don't see that out. Yeah, I don't see that out there. Like just for so people get a feel for this, we probably are. I think we only bought 10 or 11 homes in Texas this year, and we're out trying every day. Trust me, okay? We're out, but people are paying, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. They're paying 105% of fair market value. That's what's happening here right now because people want to they want to buy real estate and they're paying.
Well, there's too many people.
I'm not going to do that.
There's too many people. Yeah.
Just too many. In North and South Carolina, like I say, we've got a more abundance of what we buy, and we're able to do 8 to 10 a month. So that's why I like it out there a lot.
Awesome. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up actually, because that leads me directly into my next question. So with the Dallas market kind of being on that backpedaling, like you said, what are some things that you've combated that? I mean, you've gone to the North and South Carolinas, but anything else that you've combated to actually like make your business still grow and thrive?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the big move was going to the Carolinas, okay? But we're back in 2000, back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, man, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I just had to go to the HUD bid list and I had 15 houses to look at that day. Now we'll probably buy 2 HUD houses all year. They don't even hit the HUD bid list anymore. I mean, and if they do, it's full price. And so yeah, I had to learn how to market better. We bought more houses from individuals because the low hanging fruit's not there like it used to be in Texas. And so, because they just, like I say, it's such a crazy seller's market here that people come in and pay cash for them, and they're paying 100%, 105% of value.
Interesting. So I've met Melissa, your integrator. She's incredible with what she does and everything. I mean, you talk about her at our masterminds and everything. And when people are looking for advice on integrators, like one of the first people they look at is you because of how well she does. With establishing in 2 other markets outside of where you're at currently, like your specific geographical location, what are some things that you got to do in order to go into other markets to make sure it's the ship is still running?
Well, yeah, and I mentioned it earlier. You guys have done it. The traction, the EOS process. Okay, that's critical. All right. I found out I'm the classic visionary. I'm not an integrator. I'm not anything that. I couldn't be an integrator of a company. Okay, and I say this. I say this because it's true. Is that it's funny because back when I was doing business wrong, I was afraid to let go because I thought no one could do it better than me. Man, I'm good, right? And what the crazy thing about it is when I started letting go and bringing in the right people, everyone did it better than me. Everybody I replaced myself with did it better than me. And I go,
Josh, that's why you do the podcast.
Yeah, I've got a business coach.
Is that why you have me here?
Yes.
I appreciate that, Tom.
Josh, you do the podcast better than me.
Yeah, I've got a business coach that said the best thing you can do for your business is get out of it for 60 days. Get out of here. I go, no, not that much, but
I'm gonna get out of here, Josh. I'll see you later.
You're going to Disney.
You're going to
Disney tomorrow. So yes.
Yeah. In all seriousness, I just finished the book Good to Great, right? And there was something that I really took out of that book. I knew this, but it just really drove home to me. You've got to get the right people. Okay. When you get the right people, it's easy. You can't hire people, motivate them, get them to where, they've got to be self-starters. They got to be the right people. What, you mentioned Melissa, I believe God totally put us together because there couldn't be a better visionary integrator. We couldn't get along better. It just is awesome. She's awesome. I know my business is in great hands when I'm in mastermind groups because she's running it. She's running the operations, and she scored 100 on the integrator test from Rocket Fuel. That's how and she's awesome. So and not just her, but we have other people on our team, the department heads. I feel the same about them. I look up and I go, man, I'm a blessed man. I've just got an awesome team. I mean, really do.
So as the owner of the company, and you've talked about how, Melissa kind of runs the ship here. What are some things that you have delegated or even pulled yourself out of? You talked about pulling yourself out of the business. I know you've mentioned several times that you're not in your level 10 meetings, but letting go, all that kind of stuff. What are some things that you have changed about your your outtake of the business and things that you've delegated or pull yourself out of?
Well, because I understand my role as the visionary. I'm to work on the business, not in the business. That's number one. Okay. And what you said about being out of the level 10 meetings, if I'm in the level 10 if I was in the level 10 meetings, I can't help but to take over. That's just my nature. Okay. So I had to get out of there to give Melissa the chain of command and me get out of there. Now I'm in our quarterly meetings, I'm in our quarterly meetings and so forth, but I'm not on the weekly meetings, and you just had to learn to let go. Okay. There's certain things you never let go of. I have a CEO dashboard, money and everything else I look at all the time, and so forth. But as far as the day-to-day operations, just to keep it simple, my job is to work on the business, not in the business.
Love that. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So at the Mastermind, you, and I even asked you about this before we jumped on the podcast here, so just do your best here, but it was very intriguing to the entire room. At the Mastermind in November, you presented two ways that you present deals, two options that you present deals to your investors. Can you kind of walk through that? Because again, I understood it because of the way you had it on the PowerPoint, but yeah, it was great. So go ahead and explain it.
To keep it simple, and this is another thing too, I copied this from another guy at a mastermind meeting. Okay, I didn't invent this. I looked at it and I said, wow, that's really a good business model. I have not used a bank in over 15 years. Okay, I understand there's low interest rates there's stuff, but I don't use a bank. I don't need a bank. Okay, I do 100% of my business with private investors. Okay, we joint venture 100%. So I have two models. One is that my company retains ownership of the house, and we bring in the investor as a lien holder. Okay, they're in the same position Wells Fargo would be if they financed the house for me. Okay, so I pay them an interest rate, and then our prototypical model is that we pay them 6% interest. We're buying the house at 75 to 80% of fair market value or less, and we give them 25% shared appreciation. Okay, so the plan is that it's a 5-year interest-only note, and the interest only is important because it gives us good cash flow for those 5 years. Okay, then after 5 years, it's the lender's call if he wants to sell the house or he wants to keep going. So at that time, he's going to get 25% of the upside. Any appreciation at that time, he's going to get. Plus, remember, there's 20 to 25% appreciation going in. So and once again, I'm using Texas as an example, and I realize this isn't representative, or I wouldn't. In the next 7 years, it's not going to be like this. But our property's doubled in Texas, right? And the first lenders that we cashed out, their average rate of return was 34% from the 6% interest plus the shared appreciation.
That's good enough.
It's good enough, right? And so under that program, and we tell our investors this. All you have to do is be able to wire the money to the bank, to the title company. Okay. After that, we do everything. You're 100% passive. You don't do anything. We buy the property, we fix it up, we property manage it for you. All you got to do is look at your Quest IRA statement, or you got to look at your bank account, because we direct deposit the money into their account. And so they're totally passive. Most of my investors are dentists and doctors, and they're busy doing what they do. And so, but that's why they love it. It's a way for them to participate in real estate without having to get involved, without having to do anything. So that's our option number one, where they're the lender. Okay. Option number two, Tom, you talked about your book, the turnkey book. We do a turnkey model also. Okay. So, and what I like is, for my company, we like to do one and one. Okay, we want to keep one because as a company, we're trying to grow passive income, right? Mailbox money. And then we do one that we sell to our investors. So our typical model is we're gonna buy the home, fix it up. We mark the turnkey house up $15,000. We're basically taking our equity off the table. Okay. The investor still gets 12 plus gross rate of return, and he owns the house. He'll get all future appreciation. He's responsible for repairs. We manage the property for him for 10% of the rent. And same thing, he's totally passive. We do everything for him. He doesn't have to do a thing. So that's our two models. We like to do one of 50% of each. So
love it. That's awesome.
And and he said that he copied that from someone else. And right now, I'm actually in the process of kind of copying what he's doing with our Gary houses. And the whole my part of my vision for flipping Gary is going into these houses right now where there's still like a small opportunity, I believe, because you're seeing like it's exploding right now in Gary. I don't think that people realize it, but now we've seen 10 comps over $100,000, Glenn, in the last 6 months, and nothing sold over 40 for 10 years. Wow. And I'm still picking up these houses all in at low, very low prices. So I'm going to be doing that same exact program that Glenn's doing, where I'm going to take lenders' money at 6 and 25, and then also do turnkeys with them, because I think long term everybody's going to be extremely happy with it. And I believe. I believe they're going to double in price, because I'm seeing this happen, and it may happen quicker than not. Look, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but the cash flow is still amazing.
I always say this: if you look at the charts, and I use this phrase, okay, milk, eggs, bread, butter, and real estate all go up over time. Okay, if you look at any 30-year chart, I mean, it's going to go like this, but it's inflation. There's the government says there's 2% inflation. That's a whole nother topic. I think it's more like 8 or 10. But it just, inflation keeps going up. The Dallas-Fort Worth area, for an example, where we couldn't get over $1,000 rent 4 years ago, now we're getting $1,400 on some of our properties now.
Yep.
So I mean, tremendous appreciation, increases there. So
well, that's a good point too, because it's not just the appreciation. If you're an investor, you don't really care too much if the value of the house. But the value of how much the rent is, if the rent goes up $300 or $400 in a 5-year period of time, that's a ton of money. The lifetime value of that asset now becomes so much greater than just if you sold a house and made a couple $1,000s. I mean, so what?
And I'll say this, it's like properties, like I say, that we bought in 2012, 2013. When we bought them, we were probably getting $400 a month cash flow. There's some of them now that are $800 a month cash flow. And I can't replace those. No. Why would I ever sell that? I'm not going to sell that.
Nope.
The returns are too good.
Yep.
So
it's like you've said a couple times, that the house doesn't know that the market's changing.
Right. The house doesn't know how much it's worth.
The house could care less.
No.
The house could care less. And the beauty too is, and here's another thing, and this is why I love the affordable housing space, right? I don't care what happens in the market. I really don't. No matter how bad things get, people are going to do two things. They're going to eat and have a roof over their head. Okay, that's a given, right? Those are the numbered. Everything else you can kind of cut back on. Those two things you're not going to do, right?
Well, unless air becomes in short supply or something, yeah, right, so they're going to breathe probably too.
But literally, because this happened after the 2008 deal happened, people that were getting out of 3,000, 4,000 square foot brick houses were leasing our stuff. I mean, we had people that were trying to cut back, and husband or wife lost a job or whatever, and wanted, affordable housing is always going to be in demand. Always going to be in demand.
I agree.
So is affordable housing recession proof?
I think to a certain degree, yes. It obviously depends on the area. You don't want to be stuck in war zones and places where like there's real crime and real issues of break-in and theft, because that's just not going to be good for your investment long term. But if you can be in neighborhoods that are decent, that people want to live in, I think it is. I'm not going to say 100% recession proof, but it's not going to like completely. But it is a really good.
I'm going to take it a step further. I agree with everything you said about the war zone. Like for us, our business model, we want to be in a good area. With a good floor plan, good house, right? Good house, good area. Yeah. We're in, right? No war zones. If you wouldn't send your wife, your daughter to collect rent at night, we don't buy there. You just don't do it, right? So, and I believe when you're in those type of areas, I believe it is 100% recession proof. Yeah. That's my opinion. Okay, because I just people always are going to want it. If you have a good house in a good area. And once again, it's got to be a good area. It can't be an area where you can get hurt. Is like what happened in Detroit years ago when all the automakers pulled out of there, and 500,000 out of forget how many houses. But yeah, you can't control that. You can't control that deal. But outside of that, that's why I like to be in good diversified economies too.
Yeah. So the location is important. So and I'm telling you, with the way the new buyer is happening, and even the new renter today, you can't just have a house anywhere in the country. I don't know how North and South Carolina are, but I can tell you in Indiana, Illinois, everybody's constricting. Everybody wants to be a little closer to the big cities. They're not going out into rural America as much as they used to.
Well, that is for sure. And I'll tell you, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they are building apartments and condos everywhere around downtown Fort Worth and downtown Dallas. The people, the old deal of everyone wanting to get out in the suburbs, the millennials don't want that anymore.
No.
They don't. And in those, it's all coming back to the cities. It really is.
So you have to be careful about location. So for instance, like Terre Haute, Indiana, at some point was a pretty not a booming, but a decent city. I'm not sure it's ever going to really come back and thrive like it did at one point, because it doesn't have enough, for it to survive. But anything up by us, by Chicago, anything by Indianapolis, anything by Mishawaka and Notre Dame, what's the city? South Bend, yeah. Fort Wayne. Like, we have some really good places that as long as you're within a half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour from those locations, people want to stay a lot closer. So you got to change your longer term thinking on real estate, because two major factors are happening. Number one, you have the millennials that want to buy a different property, and then you also have baby boomers that are going to be retiring that also don't want to be out there. They want to be in senior care facilities, or they want to be in assisted living facilities, and where they want to be close to what's happening. So keep that in mind with your real estate investing. It's not the same as it was 15 years ago.
And one other point that I want to make too, and this is just my particular model, what I do. Okay, I buy real estate for the cash flow today. I don't, future equity and appreciation. That's all on God's good humor. I think it's going to be there? Absolutely. Okay, but that's really not an equation. And when I buy a property, I want to know what is our cash flow going in today. And if it's $350 to $400 or more a month, which all of ours are, I'll buy it. I buy it all the time. So and then appreciation is a bonus. And the other thing too is, because appreciation does grow tax free. It's compounding tax free. You're not paying taxes on it while you're building wealth. That's another reason why I love real estate.
I would 99% of the time agree with Glenn. And I've always said that until recently, all of a sudden I see like it happening right in front of you. So for instance, when you were in Dallas, Texas, if you were buying houses that say 80 grand and those exact same houses, then all of a sudden we're just overnight selling for 150, you'd probably be jumping to buy as many of those $80,000 houses as you possibly can before everybody else catches up and realizes that they're 150. So that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing right now. I feel like the real value could be a whole lot higher, and the instant discount that I believe I'm getting, I'm not necessarily banking on this over 3 to 5 years. I'm just saying it might take 3 to 5 years for the rest of the market to catch up. So I guess that's, and I think that only happens in specific instances and certain times of certain market cycles in certain cities. So you have to be very careful to think that's going to happen everywhere.
Well, you said earlier, you've just got to know your markets. That's
very
all.
Well, yes.
You got to know your markets, and you got to know, and so like we feel very confident that the markets we're in, rents are not going to go down anytime soon. It's just not going to happen.
They can't. There's too much demand.
There's too much demand. So yeah, it's so that's where I feel safe, secure, and so.
Awesome conversation. Loved it. So we're gonna have to start wrapping this up, man. We're clocking in at like 50 minutes,
okay.
But this is great. So awesome conversation. Appreciate you guys doing that. So Glenn, I got 2 final questions that I ask every single person on the interview. Last time I had you on the interview, that was way back when. I wasn't doing this yet. So we just started this within the last 30, 40 episodes or so. So good success. You know us. You've known us. Well, you've known Tom for a long time. I met you for the first time when you came and visited our mastermind in June of last year, and really just hit it off with you immediately. But you know us. You've been with our group since the second meeting. So good success, the actual term good success. What does that mean to you? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when somebody says good success?
When I think of you guys, first of all, you guys know this. I can consider both you guys great friends. Okay, yeah, I mean, awesome. You're awesome guys,
Likewise.
Awesome friends. We're aligned with core values, core beliefs. But I love the fact that out of any mastermind group I'm in, you guys put God at the center of it. Number one. Okay, make no apologies about it. We pray, we and is everybody in our group a Christian? Probably not, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. But at least we're upfront about that. And there's a lot of guys in the group that feel that way. And I just love the group of people that you guys have assembled. I mean, I was looking around at the last meeting and going, there's not a person here that I would want to go out and have dinner with and spend time with. And I really mean that, it's a great group of people. I've developed some great friendships, some great business friendships too in the group. And so, I think, like I said, you guys are doing an awesome job. I think the thing is going to grow through the roof, and I'm excited to be part of it. So.
Well, I really appreciate the plug on the mastermind, Glenn, but I'm going to push you a little bit harder on the question. Yeah. So we're just talking about the name Good Success, and maybe you're too close to us that you kind of didn't understand the question. You're too close. You kind of know too much about us. But
I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Like
just think of in terms of just like what words mean in general,
okay,
not necessarily but what is the words or what does the term good success mean to you?
Yeah.
Well, I know it comes from a Bible scripture, right? Okay.
Yes.
Good success means good success in doing business right, in my opinion. Doing it God's way. That's what good success means to me.
Doing it God's way.
Making God the
CEO. I tell our team this every quarter. Okay, we have 2 metrics and 2 metrics only. Okay, we have to exceed expectations for our tenants, and we have to exceed expectations for our investors. And we never have to worry about us. The rest of it will take care of itself.
I like that. That is stewardship right there. Mm-hmm. That is at its finest.
Well,
point.
It's when you get your, I think when you put your mind on your customers versus the money, everything changes.
I love that.
Everything changes. You take care of them, and then you don't have to worry about you. The money follows.
Great stuff.
I can see that in a quote with
yep. You got that, Emily? Oh, wait, no, she doesn't have headphones on. We'll let you know what he said. It was great. Awesome.
I remember talk to my agent. No,
we will. Yeah, we definitely appreciate that. And so one more thing, you got to leave the audience with one thing. So whether it's a quote, piece of advice, a thought, maybe it's a book you've read, something like that. What would that be? Just one thing.
And I say this over and over. This was a slide on my last presentation. Okay. There's 4 books that have changed my life. Okay. From the personal side, the Bible, it's got all the answers in it. Number 2 is The Purpose-Driven Life. Okay. Anyone who hasn't read those 2 books, I strongly suggest it. Okay. Because it'll let you know what God's talents he's given you and to be it'll let you know what you're supposed to do. And then from the business side, the 2 books that changed my life was the E-Myth. I was handed that book 7 years ago, and that's where I learned about delegation. And you guys know that it talks about McDonald's, right? To where you go to a McDonald's, ask for the owner, he's not there. Why? Because they got the processes in place and whatever. And so when I put that book, the E-Myth, down, I went, I've been doing business wrong for all these years. I mean, I really did. And so I totally changed my way of thinking, delegation, and then Traction, the EOS model, took it to a new level. That gave me the mechanics on how to do it. Okay. So anybody on this podcast that hasn't read those four books, I strongly suggest that's what I want to leave them with.
Perfect. All right. We appreciate that. Glenn, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you for allowing us to pick your brain and share everything with our listeners. It was a fantastic podcast. We look forward to having you back. Thanks
for having me. It's always fun with you guys. It really is. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us, Glenn. I mean, we really appreciate you being here. Yeah. If somebody from our audience, our audience is growing really fast. We're getting thousands of downloads per month now on our podcasts. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach you? Email or your website? Or
and I'm old fashioned. I even give out my phone number. Okay.
Oh, cell phone number.
You bet.
I always get criticized for this. I'm glad there's somebody else that gives out cell phone numbers.
Feel free to call. Yeah, seriously. No, I like when I could pick up the phone, call people, and I want to do the same thing for them. So my phone number is 817-966-1258. You can get me at, my email is Glenn@Stromberg. That's STROMBERG investmentgroup.com. And then our website, actually, it tells a lot about our model. If anyone's interested in looking at that, I've done several podcasts that I think are on there and so forth. And so with you guys and other people, it's www.stromberginvestmentgroup.com. So those are the ways you can find out more or get in touch with me. Okay.
Yep, awesome. And Glenn will he'll get involved with you, because I've actually a couple weeks ago I asked Glenn if he could connect with somebody that reached out to us that's not quite qualified for the mastermind yet, but is looking to get into mobile home investing, and he's like, yeah, send me their number, loop me in. So
absolutely. No, like I say, you reap what you sow, and you help people, it comes back to you. So
love it. That's the updated one thing to leave the audience with. But all right, Glenn, we look forward to seeing you in February at the Mastermind in Dallas, in your neck of the woods.
I look forward to it.
Awesome stuff.
No excuse not to be there, because it's 30 minutes away.
30 minutes away.
It is. I saved the plane flight, man. It's awesome. I'm excited. So that's good. That's good.
Plus, does Glenn know about Mo and Jeremiah's thing? Because he's not on Facebook, so he's not seeing all this.
Oh, no, I mean, on the weight loss deal.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I know about it. Sure.
Okay, so you're not on Facebook. You might want to get somebody to show you, but Jeremiah and Mo are kind of having some fun on Facebook, and it's going to be a really good time.
Jeremiah is killing it.
We have a business Facebook, and Melissa's all over Facebook. So yeah, I will have her take a look at that.
So on Wednesdays, when we're going to do the weigh-in, and after that, we're actually going to have a speaker kind of talk about that as well. And then we're going to do the little dance from the little guy that's going to be a lot littler than he is now.
Yeah.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. We appreciate you jumping on. And again, if you have not already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success Podcast. And then leave us a review if you're able to. I know Apple Podcasts might be the only platform, but we would love to hear your feedback if you guys would be willing to do that. And then the Good Success Mastermind, we've talked about it quite a bit on this podcast, but you can check that out at goodsuccess.com/mastermind. Fill out the application there, and then you'll get on a phone call with either myself or Tom. You heard about a lot about the culture. You heard Glenn. He's very good standard for the culture that we've developed in our room. So you guys, that's the type of person we're looking for. And then the Active Turnkey book, Best Way to Buy Rentals, is on not sale. It's for free. So you can pick your free copy up at atkbook.com, just covering shipping and handling costs, and Tom's going to pay for it himself. This is going on Amazon pretty soon, so it's going to be
can I put a shameless plug in too?
Do it.
On our website, I did do a book. I co-authored a book with someone. It's called Private Lender Secrets, about recruiting private money. And so we'll do the same thing. If they'll pay for the shipping, we'll send them a free copy of it. And so that's I'm going to make that available too. Okay?
Awesome. We need to get you back on to talk about that. Yeah. I've known that you co-authored that, and I just didn't ask any questions about it. I'm sorry, Glenn.
No big deal. No big deal at all. No.
All right, cool. Okay. And where did you say they can go check that out?
The company website, www.stromberginvestmentgroup.com, and then there's a place on there that they can hit us, and if they'll pay for the shipping, we'll send them the book.
Perfect. Awesome. You guys make sure you take advantage of that. So yeah. We'll leave it linked below, and then when the show notes come out, you guys can check that out as well. Awesome. So that's going to do it for today's episode. We appreciate you jumping on and joining with us. Remember to be a conduit, not a bucket.
Work to have to give.
I like that.
Catch you guys on the next one.